Hello, everybody. It's me once again. This is Air America. My name is Russell Mays. I'm glad you could join me today. I'm broadcasting you from my home studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada. A lot of different things have been happening around the KUNV sites. Have you been listening on the air over there? They are having a format change over at KUNV. That's perfectly fine. I was notified that I have to reapply for the show that I've been doing for 4 years over there. Now I have to reapply to it. So we'll see what happens on that. But I think one of the main reasons for that is the new group that has come through the UNLV on campus over there are very liberal, very, very left-leaning liberal. They do not want to see the sights of the right at all. But that's okay. No problem at all. We'll see what happens. I have been a little bit on the scorn side over there a few times over on campus, but there are some good people at the station, though. Some very good people over the station. So I don't want to trash them too badly on it. So, which has led me to a few different things that I'm going to be doing. I've been asked to do a podcast, both video and audio, so I'm putting that together. So soon you'll be able to pull my podcast, or if you can go to my website at RadioRussell.net. And you can also email me from there too at russell@radiorussell.net. Check it out. You'll see all my shows that I've been doing. As you can tell here at the home studios, I'm a Trumpster all the way. I'm very patriotic, and I believe in this country very much so. And I hope many people out there that are listening to my voice also believe in America and what it can do. So a lot of things been happening in the news. Currently, we're looking at the weather here in Las Vegas, Nevada, at about 100 degrees outside. Very sunshiny out there. Very nice day. Had myself a good day. Did some yard cleaning up, but stepped in a pile of fire ants. They really tore my ankle up pretty good there. The fire ants, they bite pretty good. But don't worry about it. We'll take care of that scenario also. While we're here on the air, I just wanted to make sure that everybody is catching the show. I know some of you are already emailing me that they can't get me on the air on the internet, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll be able to do that through Facebook, and when I get the Twitter and my podcast up and running, we'll take care of that too. Just a small glitch in the series of the fight against the socialists of the Democrat Party. Talking about the socialists. All right, here we go. What are we going to say about Representative Rashida Tlaib, Democrat in Michigan? How this woman ever got elected, I have no idea, but she got elected. It's a very blue state over there, and that's the reason why many Democrats follow lockstep, just as they call everybody else, even our great President Trump, a Nazi. They are very lockstep with each other, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrat Party, and they will not listen to reason whatsoever. And listening to reason is what it's all about. And it brings up a good friend of mine that I was talking to yesterday. Her name is Sandy, and she has a policy at her house that you're not supposed to talk politics or religion. And it's not the fact that she does not like politics or religion. It's the fact that people do not discuss or have a conversation about politics and religion. They get into arguments and unwilling to listen to the other person's side of the point of view. And I don't want to say, because I'm pretty stubborn too when it comes to the right, but I also have the ability to recognize that the right isn't always the way it should be. The left is always the touchy-feely. Never facts, never information or statistics. It's all how you feel. Oh, it's so wrong to do that. It's so wrong to do this. But none of them. My head swims with frustration of how many tangents you can get off on with just dealing with negotiations, if you will, with the left. I'll give you an example. Let's do healthcare. Let's take that one step right now. Healthcare, for instance. You get into the healthcare scenario, and our politicians want to have free healthcare for all. First off, every U.S. citizen has free healthcare. If you get hurt, you cannot be denied healthcare in the emergency room. They have to be able to stabilize you. They have to take care of you. It's when you get into all the other stuff that everybody gets in the argument about. Medication is one issue. I do have an issue with that. Why can somebody go across the border and get this exact same medication for a lot less across the border when they make it here and ship it over there? That is an issue. But that's not a pharmaceutical issue. That's all the rules and the regulations the government puts on the pharmaceuticals. Okay. So, if the left wants to have health care for all, free health care, they better darn well also get on that policy. There's none of this. The rest of the country can have health care under these rules, but yet you get the top-notch stuff for life, which they do now. People don't realize that. Once you're in office, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, representative, senator, whatever, you have health care for life. Some of the best health care there is. All paid for by the government. Excuse me. All paid for by the taxpayers. So, now that the taxpayers are paying for everything, now they want you to have the crappy end of the health care so they can feel good and get your vote to vote them in. Privatizing health care brings in competition, and that makes it better. The problem is it gets out of hand because the people with health care are not taking responsibility for their health care and forcing the insurance companies to pay for it all. Okay? You might say, well, that's the reason why you have health insurance. Yes, it is. But do you have to use... How do you draw the line where you really need to go to the hospital or you just need to talk to the doctor? That kind of thing. For a quick medication or stuff like that. It's, I mean, there's a lot of things out there on the market you can do, like the holistic medicines if you want to do that kind of thing. It's also the reason why these hospitals go out of business also. They know that if you go in there for health care, they can charge you 4 times the price for a Band-Aid so the hospital can make money and give you those nice rooms that you're looking for. And you got the people that, if they want to pay high-end for health care and then they go into the hospital, they get mad because they have to get into a room they have to share with somebody. So if they want the private room, they think, well, I'm paying a higher-end insurance, so I get the private room because you can afford it. There's a lot of issues like that come up. If you can afford it, that's fantastic. If you can't afford it, you find the insurances that are there. I think healthcare is very important to everybody, but I hate to be the devil's advocate on this. It is not a right. There's nowhere in the Constitution that says you have the right to free health care. You don't. You have the right for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what it gives you the right to do. However you perceive that life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is totally up to you. You've got the religious organizations that do not believe in healthcare. They believe in God as the form of healing. That's their right to have a belief like that. But the government shouldn't have the right to go in and force them to take their people out of their belief and force it down their throat. Happened in Miracle Mile a long time ago, 70, no, it was about like 83, I think. And they got in a big Waco-style shootout and everything. The only difference is they didn't send in the tanks like Jarrett did down to Waco, where she sent the tanks in and burned those people out. And that was totally the government's issue all the way. So anyway, getting over to the representative, Rashid Tlaib, the Democrat from Michigan, who is a freshman in the House of Representatives, which is perfectly fine. She could be a freshman all she wants. But her and Ilmar Omar, what a name, wanted to go with this group to Israel to visit, to see the place. Come on up and see us sometime. But Netanyahu said, no way, they're not allowed in. And he has every right to deny them access to his country. And I back him 100% on this. Bibi Netanyahu, you keep up the good work on that. And the reason is why would you allow anybody into your home, and I do consider that country his home, into your home that wants to destroy your home? That's a non-discussable issue. And I even saw Pat Robinson say, well, he should back down and allow it in to show good concern. No, I disagree with Pat Robinson on that one too. And the reason is because once they get in, she used the excuse, okay, first want to go in, no, you can't come in. Well, I have a 90-year-old grandmother who I have to go see. It'll be the last time I see her, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Fine. He says, you are allowed to come in. We grant you that. But you are not allowed to make any statements against Israel or any political statements while there. You're there to visit your family. That's why you are being allowed in. That's what you requested, to go see your family. Then she sends back and says, no, I'm not going, because if you're going to deny me the right to speak on my own accord, I'm not going to come in. Tells you right there what her intentions were right off the bat. She was going to trash Israel on their own land. And I'm sorry, Israel and Bibi Netanyahu is not like the United States. The United States will pull up with that crap and the burning of the flag and the trashing of its own country, which nobody's left yet, with all those people saying, hey, I'm going to leave the country if Trump becomes president. Well, he's been president for a little over almost 3 years now, and you're still here? and you're still making money off the American people? Are you serious? Please, get out of the country or love this country. Back it. If you have questions or problems with it, get into office and change it. Hence, that's the only thing that I agree with Rashida Tlaib, Ilmar Omar, who's the other one, AOC, and the squad. I can't remember the fourth lady's name. They got into office to change things, but they didn't. They got into office to complain. They haven't tried to change things. What is this new Green Deal? Are you kidding me? What are you people thinking about? So, now she's in office, and she is, well, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilmar Omar, and the rest of them. All they're doing is just making all kinds of waves. You notice you haven't heard much from AOC lately because of all this Israel stuff. And I back our president 100% on that. 100%. Don't let them in. Do not let them in. I mean, for this very same reason that KUNV is having a format change and not allowing conservative viewpoints. Whether that's the real reason or if I'm just taking that as an interpretation, that's perfectly fine. But if that's the viewpoint you want to have, and you want to go trash another person's country, go. See if I care. Go. But if they don't let you in, don't complain, because you're an idiot, and all they are is a voice. All right, let's move on. It really just twerks my knickers, I guess, if you want to call it, of what they're trying to do over there. Those four freshmen. But they can hang in there, I guess. Totally up to them. Whatever they want to do. So, moving right along, there's a couple of other things that are in the news that are really, really, really important. And I've been thinking about this quite a bit. And it's about our country itself. Our president, President Donald J. Trump, has done a lot of good things to make our country very prosperous. And we are turning it around, or excuse me, he is turning it around. He is becoming a very force unto itself within this country and making it for the betterment of the American people. So I got to thinking about it. If you see the way the world works and how everything was underneath Obama, Clinton's, even Bush, the issues are we've been struggling as a country trying to keep jobs going, trying to keep the economy going, healthcare going, just fixing the border fence, stop the illegals from coming across the border. All this strife that we've been dealing with. Now Trump comes in with a whole new game plan. So he focuses on the United States and making it better instead of kissing butt to all the other countries in the world. Which got me to thinking, if you read history, anytime the world is prosperous and doing good, the United States struggles. Anytime the United States is prosperous and doing good, the world struggles. Why is that? And I've come to the conclusion that we are the service country to the world. And if we are tired of licking the souls of the rest of the country, and we stand up for themselves, and now they have to fend for themselves without us giving them all our money and all our labor and all our jobs and everything else, and we want to have a little bit in our pocket to make ourselves successful. They don't know what to do. They have no clue to whatsoever. I mean, even the Middle East, now they're screaming and Iran has taken tankers and hostages, and North Korea is shooting off missiles or pretending to shoot off missiles. And China has a Hong Kong issue going on right now. All these problems stem from when Trump pulled back on all these idiotic packages that the previous presidents put forth. The TPP, the Environmental Act, making all these countries step up to the plate for the United Nations, the UN. Your fair share. We don't want to pay for everybody anymore. We want to stop paying for these people. How long will you keep? Well, this is a dumb question to be asking the millennials, because they've been living with mommy and daddy since their 30s now, staying in the basement or whatever. And that's the same thing. How long will the parents continue supporting their bums of children before you kick them out of the basement bedroom and tell them to get a job, make a life for yourself? Good Lord, I was out at 17, 18. If I had to, and I did, I went into the military. I wanted to get out. I wanted to see what was going on. I want to build a life for myself. But not these kids nowadays. They don't want to do that. Oh, no, God forbid that they get dirt under their fingernails. Anything like that. I mean, holy good Lord. So, and that's the big issue with our country. Donald Trump is making us prosperous again, giving us a good life to latch on to actually build our families on. And if you don't take that and run with it, and you want to sit there on the couch and complain because Donald Trump tweeted something that you didn't like, well, that's your own fault for failing. Because nobody's going to give it to you. I mean, come on. Get off your butt and do something. This is a great country. The opportunities are out there. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to take and run with it? Or are you just going to sit on your yucky sack and play video games all day long? It's crazy. Speaking of video games, this is something that really tweaked me again. Is I was reading a thing from someone that I know stating that first shooter video games does not cause mass shootings or violence within our kids. It doesn't teach that. And I actually popped a gasket on that one. And the reason why, if that is true, that these video games and TV shows do not teach violence to our kids, then how dare you put on Sesame Street? How dare you put on Dora the Explorer? How dare you put on, the Electric Avenue, the kids programs, where they teach kids to count and do math and read, and Reading Rainbow is another one. How dare you put these on there to teach our kids? Because it doesn't teach our kids according to your rules. So if it teaches your kids how to read, it will also teach your kids to go be violent in the streets. You can't have it both ways, folks. Just can't do it. It also comes down to it's parenting. Take the video game away. Take the cell phone. Why does your kid need a cell phone at 9 years old? What is that? I mean, come on. It's all a prestigious thing. It's the same thing with paying $200 for a pair of Nike sneakers, or listen to Colin Kaepernick blame the American flag on a Nike sneaker for racism. Get a life. There's too much going on in this world to worry about a pair of sneakers and you being offended against it. Hoo-wee, I'm telling you. So what else have we got going on here? I really like, that Hong Kong thing over in China. I'm just reading some of these stories that are coming across the board here. That puts China in a real tough spot. And the reason why they're in a tough spot is China is a communist country. And I think it was in the year 1999 or 2000, I'm not sure exactly the year, that Britain gave up Hong Kong, and because it was under lease from China, and they had to give it back to China, so now it's under China rule now. And China gave Hong Kong sort of a waiver to continue on doing business as usual without going underneath the communistic law or rule. Because it was very hard to transform a free people into communism or socialism. You'll get rioting. Ta-da! Guess what you got? You're out rioting. Now it's really starting to transition into a lot more than what it was. But what happened is China wanted to enforce the extradition rule that if you get arrested for something, you'll be taken to mainland China and tried. Once you're in mainland China, under the judicial system there, you might as well say goodbye to yourself, because you'll be pulled right out of there. And that's how they'll start getting Hong Kong under the communist rule. They'll start pulling all the teachers, the politicians, you name it, out of the place, and start, taking them into court over in the mainland China. You won't see them anymore. And then Hong Kong will be communist, and you won't have made in Hong Kong anymore. You won't have that huge free market going through that country. And I do call it a country. I call Hong Kong a country, even though it is part of mainland China. They want to be a democracy. They want to keep it the way it is. They don't want to have that fear. They know what it's like to live in freedom. The people over in mainland China, they're underneath the thumb. And I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and we were discussing this, how this lady that lived in China, and how China is so good and so perfect that she wants to go back there and live after she retires. And I says, that's fine. Why doesn't she go live now? Oh, she wants to make the money here and then go live in China. That's what she wants to do. You can't make any money in China. It's all government run and operated. So what are you going to do? Some of the other things that I wanted to bring up too, that the proverbial New Green Deal, climate change, and all this, and this is part of it too. If you go to Japan is one of the cleanest countries in the world. You can walk through Japan's subways and you won't find a piece of paper on the ground. You won't find graffiti on the walls. The streets are clean. There is no homeless people hanging out. And it's because the people care. Not the politicians, the people care. when they're walking down the street and they're eating a burger wrapper or an ice cream cone and it has a piece of paper or a soda and they're done with it, they don't drop it on the ground. They use their waste receptacles. I'll tell you how good it is over there. China has public restrooms. Not China, sorry. Japan has public restrooms on the street corners that people can actually go in and use, and they're clean. How many gas station restrooms have you ever been in that are absolutely disgusting? And it's not because of our politicians. And it's not because there's not enough money for it. It's because of each and every one of us. If you don't have the common decency to pick up after yourself, you're going to have San Francisco and LA lined with homeless people, where the feces on the street is gotten so bad that it doesn't go into the sewer system, but it's being washed out to the beaches now, and it's showing up in the analyze when they go out and test the waters. There's so much feces, human feces, on the streets in San Francisco and LA that it's showing up in the waters on the beaches. And it's not because there's not enough money there. California is one of the richest states in the nation. They have more money than a lot of countries do. But yet, look at their homeless. Look at their streets. They're filthy. Absolutely filthy. However, ready for this? If you go to Beverly Hills, clean streets, no graffiti, nothing. Very nice. Why is that? It's not because they have more money. It's because people are cleaning up. And I'm telling you, Beverly Hills people do not pick up after themselves. They are slobs. And they will toot and tout about how straws are really bad for you. But no. They don't get out there and they don't clean the streets, but their streets are clean. So people do care if they want to. They don't care, you're going to get trash streets everywhere. And that's what it's all about. People have to take responsibility for their own actions. You want to be a bum on the streets living there? That's perfectly fine. Everyone says, oh, they got mental problems and they can't afford to live there. Well, if you can't afford to live there, find a job and live somewhere else. But they want to live in California. It's a nice place. Let's put it this way. The only thing California has going is the weather now. The beaches are becoming filthy. The oceans are becoming filthy. The streets are becoming filthy. Nobody wants to live there. The businesses don't want to be there. Everyone talks about San Francisco, same thing. Used to be a fantastically beautiful city. Nobody wants to go there now because it's a disgusting cesspool. But you want to know something? Not more than 30, 40 miles away in Silicon Valley, where all the Google and Facebook and Cisco and you name it, Twitter and all those companies are, that's all clean area. They clean up after themselves. They have respect for what they do. But they don't care about what they image. All the money that goes into these cities, New York's the same way. New York City, what a trash bucket that is becoming. Why would anybody like to live like that? I've never been able to figure that out. Even when I was a kid growing up, and I joined the service to find and see the world, and I discovered you can live anywhere you want to in this world. So why do you put up with the crap? Why not just get up and move to a better place and build a life for yourself? Who knows? So what else we got going on? The world is our provider. I do want to touch upon, before I cut this short, Jeffrey Epstein. What a fiasco this has become. This is a good example of everything that I've been saying today. Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide under a suicide watch in a cell that was supposed to be suicide prevention cell, which means there were not supposed to be bunk beds, was not supposed to have cloth sheets. They were supposed to have those paper sheets. They were supposed to be watched 24/7. Cameras didn't work. Guards didn't have. The guards are fighting the interrogations, the interviews. Everybody's rejecting all this. Why is that? How can the coroner say it was suicide? Maybe that's what he's supposed to say. Maybe it was suicide. But I do know for a fact, and this is for a fact, to strangle yourself, to consider yourself to go to the point of death, you have to make it so you do not break free of that stranglehold, whether it be rope or whatever it be. And the reason why I say this is when I was in the service, one of the courses that I had to take was survival and how to tell if somebody is drowning. This man, this instructor, would tie, and this is literally tie, a 40-pound block to his feet. And he would literally drown himself. And he would do this all the time for an instruction base to tell you and teach you what it looked like for someone that was playing like they were drowning or somebody that was actually drowning. And the reason why he would do this is because self-preservation of life kicks in. And if it's like just a little knot around your neck, you will fight. You will stand up. You will do something. You have to have such extreme willpower to kill yourself by strangulation that to me, it's practically unheard of. You find these other people that have hung themselves by strangulation, people don't realize how they hung themselves. David Carradine did it with a belt. You can't get that belt off. His hands were also tied too, so somebody must have helped him. But they said that was suicide also. Robin Williams, the same thing. He was high enough off the ground that he couldn't get to a position to save himself. But Jeffrey Epstein, the bunk beds, from what the report says, was 5'6" to the top of the one poster. He is 6 foot or better, 6'3", which means he stood up above the bunk beds. So if he was literally trying to strangle himself by tying a rope around or a bed sheet around his throat, survival would have kicked in. Survival would have made him stand on his feet and try to fix it so he could live. That's why we have that survival instinct in us. You have to have incredible training to be able to fight through that survival mode to finish yourself off. That is just like unbelievable. You cannot do that. You have to be able to, our survival kicks in no matter what happens. So he was not in the position to not be able to save himself if he was just hanging himself off of a 5'6" bed. Simple as that. They say don't make it a conspiracy theory. They don't say, oh, it was a definite suicide. I do not believe it was a suicide. I believe he had a little bit of help. Who that help was, how it was positioned, or whatever, nobody will know. It'll be washed underneath brushed underneath the carpets just like everything else. But just remember that fact, that in the survival mode, you will do whatever you can to stay alive. And I personally believe Jeffrey Epstein did not have the ability, or whatever is the word I'm looking for, heart, to follow through with killing himself. That's the reason why when people slice their wrists, once you get the act going, there's no stopping it. There's no way to stop that. But to strangle yourself with a sheet hung from a bed that was shorter than you are, where you can actually put your feet down and stand up, means that somebody helped you die. They say he rolled off the bed and broke his bones in his neck. Well, that's possible. But think about that. That fall, by time, say like he makes the force has to be at least 3/4 of the way down. And you figure a 6-foot man falling out of bed with his head tied to snap his neck for the force when it catches, his body would hit the ground first before the snapping action came into play. It's like, how can all these factors be that way? Nobody watching, anti-suicide bed sheets were not there. Bunk beds were there, which were not supposed to be there. A proverbial roommate was not in there. That was taken away. Cameras did not work. Pre-attempted suicide. Week later, he achieves all this. People that they're finding that he had dirt on, even, I hate to say this, but even a liberal that wants to accept this as suicide has to really, really choke it down to make it acceptable or palatable that this man, oh yeah, he committed suicide. You know, to me, no, it did not happen. Simple as that. It did not happen, as they said. Whether we find out the truth or not, who knows? All I know is there's just so much going on right now in our election process that I do believe Donald J. Trump will be our president again, and I'm backing the man 100%. The problem is that the polls that are coming out, I have no idea who's taking these polls. Joe Biden is supposed to be, well, I guess, who was it? Elizabeth Warren pulled ahead of him by a point or two. But they're like 39%, 37%, something like that. And you see the rallies that they go to, he has 1,500 people max, and he brings in the most. Kamala Harris does pretty good. She brings in a few people. Trump, if he gets a hall that holds 20,000 people and packs it with another 20,000 standing outside wanting to get in, I mean, come on. I mean, the numbers just show it, absolutely show it, but they don't want to say that. And because I've never seen the hatred for a man so much as the left hates Trump. And they put everything in their basket against him that they have nothing else. They can't backpedal at all. They will go down in flames before they ever agree to anything he says or does. And Trump knows this. Why do you think his tweets twerk them so much? He does. I really seriously, God, believe he does it on purpose, because they go into a frenzy on every tweet he does, and it just makes them so mad. But what's great is his tweets the American people love. I think it's just fantastic what he's doing. Unbelievable stuff. It's like, wow, do it again. Let's see their heads explode. And they literally do explode. I mean, unbelievable. What is the statement? How do you piss off a liberal? Tell them the truth. Show them the facts. Because they will not believe it. No matter what you say or what you do, they will not believe it. It's just like what happened to me over at KUNV. I still think they got mad at me because I made fun of the Bernie Sanders picture that's on the wall in the lobby there. And I says, well, I'm a conservative walking into a building full of liberals, socialists, younglings that are in control. So just to let some of you folks on that are just jumping on board, my show has been officially reformatted, if you will, over at KUNV. And the reason why it's officially formatted is because they want more of a socialist viewpoint. And someone as myself and some of the other DJs over there lost their shows too, because they were not a socialist view. And my brother just came on and he says, long live Hillary. Oh, yeah, right. You really want to stir it up, don't you, huh, Jimmy boy? Anyway. So anyway, what I'm going to be doing now is I've already got the programs together, and I will be doing a podcast for a while until they tell me if I got my show back, if my schedule's coming back, or how they're going to do it. But I got a feeling that it won't happen for a while, because the new program director they have over there is so socialistic left-leaning that they can't see beyond. If you mention the word Trump, their heads explode. But it's a free country. They have a right to do with what they want to. I did have 4 good years over there, that's for sure. Enjoyed it quite a bit, had a pretty good following. And I guess a lot of them are still sending their condolences, but if you want, you can always kick over an email to KUNV on their site and send them and say, hey, why isn't Russ back on the air again? But I wouldn't want you to do that because I got better things to do in my life now, maybe. But I really got hopes on this podcast coming up, both video and audio podcasting. I'm going to be using the Blueberry, it's called, and it's a hosting the podcast. And but it's a good thing. Yeah, I'm sorry too. Who knows? I'm just answering some Facebook stuff here that are being posted, but you can't say sorry because things will change. But if you do stick to what you believe, no matter what happens, truth is always on your side. I know that's a little, but that's the way it is. So anyway, let's see what else is going on. We did the Jeffrey Epstein suicide, the Korean, China, Hong Kong tight spot, and the rough times over there. And the world is America's breadbasket. Simple as that. Our President Trump is making America great again, which means we are not subservient to the rest of the world. And that's the reason why a lot of the countries now are having issues with China and Hong Kong and Iran, Iraq, and some of the other countries, Britain, Germany, France. All of them were sucking off of the United States. And now we've stopped. We have to build our own country. Simple as that. We have to make our country great. And to do that, we have to stop giving it away to the rest of the world. And to make them pay for their part of the United Nations, which they should have been doing for a very long time, is also putting them in a hurt. I mean, why should we foot the bill for all these countries to live and survive for their people? Why should our people not be surviving? So anyway, I'm going to cut it out. I've been yakking at it for a while here. Please join me again. I'll probably be doing more shows throughout from my own studio here. Enjoy it quite a bit talking to everybody, hearing your feedbacks. If you have any comments, please let me know. I'll put another show together coming up shortly. Any suggestions that you would like me to talk about, let me know. Otherwise, take care. Have fun. Love you all. Bye-bye now. Take care.